Hello and welcome back to my channel, which is all about style and confidence for the 50+ woman. In today's video, I'm going to talk about putting your personality into your wardrobe and into your outfits. And it's not about those old style quizzes that we used to do with an image consultant. I know many years ago I was told that I was a natural classic. I think there were 5 or 6 boxes that you could be put into. And if you've watched any of my videos in the past or you've worked with me before, you'll know how much I hate boxes. So what I want to get across in this video is that discovering or naming your personal style isn't necessarily something I can do for you. I can give you guidelines, but the person who knows you best is you. And I will give you some little tips on how to draw that information out as well if you're not really sure. I've brought some pieces with me here today and I'm going to talk you through those and show you how these define my style personality, my style formula, my keywords that I use, and hopefully that's going to give you some ideas with putting yours together as well. So the first thing I want to talk about is something which I call style keywords. Now these are just words that condense your personal style into something that's a little bit easier to remember, so that when you're out shopping and you're looking at items, you can think about that those style keywords, and that will help you to determine whether this item is a good item for you. I have found in the past, before I started doing this some time ago, that if I went out shopping and I came back and I bought something that perhaps I didn't really end up wearing that often, it's usually because it doesn't fit into these style keywords. And now knowing this for myself, if I look back, I can see that when I bought items that aren't right, it does tend to very much be that they aren't within my style keywords. So I have 3. I would say probably no more than 5 as a maximum. You definitely need at least 3. So I'll talk you through mine as I go through the items on the rail, but I wanted to just put that thought in your head about condensing your personal style into some keywords. So then moving on from that, the next thing that I want to start talking about is what makes up that style. And I think the first one of these is colour. And it is to do with what colours suit you, but it's also to do with what colours suit your personality. And those two things aren't always the same. So if you've been colour analysed, you'll know which colours suit you physically, but there may be some colours in that palette that you don't particularly like. And I've done other colour videos, so I will link some of those below for you. But even if you haven't been colour analysed, I think you know colours that you really like, you know colours that you don't like, that you wouldn't even consider putting into your wardrobe. And sometimes, as I say, those things overlap. So it might be that you have a palette of colours, but there are a whole load in there which you don't particularly like. And sometimes I find this with, in particular, women who fall into the bright dominant, because sometimes what can happen is those women look really good in bright colours and contrast, and they look good in a bright lipstick, but that might not feel good for them. So it might be that they suit bright colours physically, but they don't actually like wearing them because they feel, you know, it's too obvious. Sometimes if you've got an introvert personality, but you have bright colouring, the two have a bit of a mismatch. So when you're thinking about your style keywords, it's really thinking about those colours that you absolutely love. Now, it'll be no surprise to you that some of my favourite colours are these gorgeous warm colours. This is one which I wear a lot, and different variations of it, softer into peach or stronger into a real orange. Things like mustards and yellows. For my neutrals, I love chocolate brown if I can find it, and I also love greens. This season I put this lovely bright apple green into my wardrobe. Now my colouring has moved from deep, because my hair used to be very dark, into slightly softer as I've got older. It's a little bit more flattering to have softer hair colouring, but I do still like some of these deeper and brighter colours, and because I do have dark eyes I can get away with that dark chocolate brown. I do occasionally wear black, so it's thinking about which of those colours you really love. So if I put those three colours together, for me that is just a absolutely love it combination. So the first thing to have a think about is colour, and you might be the complete opposite. And you know, sometimes I do like to wear softer neutrals like camels and taupe and stone as well, but typically I like colour. So you might be the complete opposite. You might be somebody who likes those neutrals. You might be somebody who likes monochrome. You might be somebody who loves that minimalist black and white look, and there's a keyword slipping in there, minimalist. So thinking about your colours, do you like to wear lots of colour? Do you like to restrict it to a small palette of colours? Or are you, you know, like the White Company, the lady who started that out, she loves white. Most of her wardrobe is white, navy, black, perhaps a little bit of grey. So that can help you start thinking about some of those keywords. Are you minimalist? Are you colourful? Well, one of my keywords is colour, because I do love colour. So as you can see, I'm wearing colour today. The thing to have a think about is shapes. So again, we can think about our body shape and what physically suits our body shape, and quite often you'll find that you will like the things that suit your body shape. And as an example of this, the shapes that I like are much more sort of fluid and flowing and relaxed, and that is a second keyword for me, is relaxed. I don't like anything that is too restrictive. So you won't really find anything in my wardrobe that is too stiff or too buttoned up, because it's not something that either suits my body or that suits my personality. I'm much more of a relaxed, sort of easygoing person, and so those sort of more relaxed styles work better for me. So they would be things like the tunic dresses in a soft viscose or a silk, or a fabric that has some nice sort of fluidity to it. They would be things like items that are cut on the bias, which could be a skirt or a top. I mentioned this in my video last week about things being cut on the bias. They work really well on curvy bodies, but again, they're not restrictive on me as I move. They've got a bit of stretch to them. And then things like, I love a straight pant. I love ones that are relaxed, that you can just pull on, that have no zips to them, that stretch when you sit in them. So again, I've mentioned these hundreds of times, they are my perfect trouser. But I also like a slightly wider and cropped leg trouser. Again, they're slightly relaxed. The fabric here is a sort of, it's got a denim-y look to it, but it's quite a nice soft linen. Or something like the palazzo pant, again in a really sort of soft flowing fabric. So you won't find any crisp white shirts in my wardrobe, because they are crisp. They tend not to work on a curvy body, and so I don't feel comfortable in them. So that like or dislike is partly to do with my body shape, but it's also partly to do with my personality as well. So my first keyword that I mentioned was colour. My second one is relaxed. I love relaxed shapes. Going into that, the next thing to think about is fabrics. So again, as I said, you wouldn't find a crisp white shirt in my wardrobe. You're more likely to find something that is in a soft cotton, a silk, a satin, a cashmere. Again, that's going to be really sort of soft. I love tactile fabrics. I love luxurious fabrics. I do like linen as well. Now this is probably the stiffest fabric that you'll find in my wardrobe, a linen, but again, because it's been treated, it is quite a soft linen. It's not a really crisp linen. So fabrics again for me will be relaxed, and they will touch into luxury as well. So that actually is my third keyword, is luxury, because I do love those luxurious fabrics. Now, when you've thought about those three parts, so we've looked at colour, we've looked at shapes, and we've looked at fabrics, and the next one that I want to mention is prints. So again, for me, if I think about that relaxed, perhaps luxury, perhaps colour, so I do like prints, but my prints are never going to be geometrics. I do like stripes, I do like spots, but my prints will tend to be something that has more swirls or curls to it, and you can see in this print that I'm wearing, it's all curly. There's no sort of straight, strict lines to it. So again, another one here, a really pretty feminine print that I love, and looking at the fabric, you can see that's coming into that drapey, soft, fluid fabric. We've got some colour in there. We've got that little bit of luxury to it because it's got that lovely flow to it. I've got another print here. I do like quite bold prints when I wear print, as you can see. Again, this one has got no straight lines to it. Again, it's a floral, fluid pattern. I do go into smaller prints as well. I absolutely love this print. I love it as well because of the print, the little sort of daisies it is in it, but also because of the colour. So I've got two things going on in there. In fact, I've got three, because it's a lovely sort of soft floaty fabric. So I've got my colour, I've got my soft and fluid shape, a bit of luxury going on in there as well, because it's this beautiful soft drapey fabric, very tactile. Let's talk a little bit about descriptive words that you may have heard in the past as well. So when I talked about those personality tests that the image consultants used to do, you'd have your classic, you'd have your gamine, who was somebody who was a little bit edgy, you perhaps have your natural person who was relaxed. So you'll have heard some of those terms before. Now you can use those terms if they work for you, but you might want to mix them up with some other ideas, and perhaps write down a whole list of descriptive words and start thinking about which ones work for you. So if I was to think about an outfit of navy trousers and a white or neutral coloured top, if we take this example here, the white t-shirt, so if you imagine the lovely classic clean white t-shirt with a pair of navy trousers, and that's a really minimalist look, so it might be with a pair of loafers. So I would say that was minimalist. I'd say it's quite a classic style, so those are a couple of words that you might want to use. Now again, for me, you wouldn't find this as an outfit in my wardrobe. Yes, I might have these pieces in my wardrobe, but you know what I might do is put a scarf on the neckline. It kind of makes it a little bit more relaxed, or I might put a piece of jewellery on it that gives it that sort of slightly more luxurious feel to it. So you've got your kind of classic and minimalist. If we swap out that white t-shirt for something a little bit more like this, which has a little bit more of a sort of floaty, perhaps feminine, perhaps boho feel to it, because it's got this embroidery on it. So if you notice in your wardrobe that you've got lots of touches like this, then you might think that's a little bit of a boho style coming in. And then the third option I've got is this silk blouse. And so this is something that you might find me wearing because Again, it's got that sort of relaxed feel to it. It's got the luxury because it's got silk. It's got that lovely fluid flowing feel to it. So this could fall into perhaps feminine, somebody who likes detail because you've got the little butterfly sleeves, you've got the tie on it, you've got the detail down the front here. So thinking about looking at those 3 different tops, which one do you have in your wardrobe? Which one would you have in your wardrobe, and how would you wear it? So that's starting to pick up on some clues about what you like and what is in your style personality. Now obviously accessories do come into this as well, but I'm not going to talk too much about accessories today because I'm going to do a whole separate video on it, because for me accessories are really important. They do help you personalise an outfit, so I think that justifies a whole video to itself. But what I did bring in here is a couple of scarves. So I showed you the navy one, which I would say is quite classic. It could be quite minimalist. It's not too stiff, it's quite a fluid fabric, it's actually silk, so it's got a nice bit of drape to it as well. Now this one, which I love even more, again, I've got that lovely sort of luxurious muted feel to it. It's tactile, it's a beautiful soft silk, it's quite generous, which gives it that sort of luxury feel to it as well. It's got some colour in it, it's got the red in it, which of course I love, but it is quite muted and gentle. And then the third one that I've got here, again, my favourite colour, the soft print. It's got a soft blend of colours to it, it's flowing. So I hope that you're beginning to understand how all of those keywords of mine, which are colour, relaxed and luxury, are fitting into the pieces that I've got in my wardrobe here. Another easy way to work out what your keywords are is to go into your wardrobe and find some of your favourite pieces and look at each of those favourite pieces and say, well, what is it about this that I love? And see if you can start to see a pattern over those favourite pieces that you've picked out. I'd say 5 or 6 at least, so that you can start looking at them and saying, oh, okay, well, they're all colourful, or oh, well, they're all in a soft fluid fabric, or perhaps you have 5 things that are very tailored, and that becomes one of your keywords, that you like tailoring. So try and look at those pieces and work out what is it about each piece that you absolutely love, and what does that tell you about your personality. And I wanted to bring in one other item of mine here, which again you have seen before, this dress. Now this, I would say, just typically sums up my keywords and my style personality and my style formula, because it's colourful, it's a lovely warm colour, it's a fluid fabric, it's a lovely soft shape which works really well on me, and of course it's silk, so it's got the colour, it's got the relaxed, it's got the luxury to it. So this is kind of a perfect piece in my wardrobe. And then of course it becomes so much easier putting outfits together when you're using those 3 keywords or 4 keywords that you've got. So you know that when you put an outfit on, it's got colour to it, it's a fabric that is relaxed, it moves really well, it's a shape that works on me, and it's a shape that I really like. And then I've added that kind of little bit of luxury with the sparkly necklace. So immediately I'm dressing to those style keywords. Now I have mentioned a couple of times in here about a style formula, and there's a lot more detail about putting this together, and it is something that I talk about in depth in my Stylish at 50 system, which is within the Stylish at 50 membership. There's too much detail to go into it in a video like this. You've seen how long it's taken just to go through talking about the keywords. But if this is something that interests you, then I think you would really love the Stylish at 50 system, because I teach you how to determine what those keywords are, how to determine what your style formula is, and it makes getting dressed so much easier. It also means that you really sort of cut down on the mistakes that you make when you're out shopping, because once you have those things honed down, you know what to look for. And it doesn't mean that you can't change them or you can't expand them a little bit in the future. So it can change over time, and it's something that you can go back to and address again and again. So if you want a starting point, I've mentioned about the little trick about getting things out of your wardrobe and checking them to see which of those keywords start to come up over and over again. But the other thing that you can do is put together a mood board. So you can look through magazines, you can look online, you can find pictures of things that you absolutely love. They don't necessarily have to be clothing. It could be a mood that comes across to you. It could be a location, so it could be beach compared to countryside. All of those things give you little clues about personality, and you can start building those into your clothing. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it's given you some ideas and some inspiration for thinking about your style keywords. If you have any questions, then please do leave them down in the comments. And as I said, if you do want to find out more about this topic, then have a look at the Stylish at 50 system. I will link that for you as well. And other than that, if you liked this video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, then click on the subscribe, and if you click on the little bell as well, you'll get notified when I make new videos. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.